Only 14 mountains on Earth breach 8,000 meters, a threshold climbers call the death zone, where the human body slowly dies with every step. On the deadliest of these giants, nearly 1 in 3 climbers never come back. And no, the most lethal is not Everest. This is every 8,000-meter peak ranked from safest to most deadly, starting with the 2 that fool you into thinking survival is guaranteed. Cho Oyu and Gasherbrum 2 stand at the bottom of the death giant ranking, but their reputations for safety are deceptive. On Cho Oyu, the world's 6th highest mountain, the numbers suggest a gentle introduction to the death zone. Its fatality rate hovers around 1%, the lowest among all 8,000-meter peaks. Its broad northwest ridge rises in long, steady slopes, drawing hundreds of commercial expeditions each year. For many, it is the first true test above 8,000 meters, a place where the costs between $12,000 and $18,000 seem almost reasonable compared to the astronomical budgets of Everest or K2. Yet the margin for error is as thin as the air. Even on Cho Oyu's gentle ridge, the lack of oxygen means the body's capacity drops to a quarter of what it is at sea level. Sudden storms can sweep the upper slopes with winds that top 100 kilometers per hour, erasing tracks and stranding climbers within minutes. In 1996, an avalanche on the Northeast Glacier killed 3 climbers in a single event, a reminder that no amount of experience or logistics can guarantee survival when the mountain decides otherwise. Gasherbrum 2, just a few meters lower, is often called the most accessible Karakoram giant. The price tag is similar to Cho Oyu, but the hazards are less forgiving. The classic route climbs exposed ice fields where winds can reach 120 kilometers per hour and crevasses open without warning beneath a thin crust of snow. In 2019, a sudden storm pinned 3 climbers on the summit ridge for 2 nights. 2 died from hypoxia and exposure before rescue teams could reach them. On both peaks, the so-called safety is a statistical illusion. Even small mistakes, misjudged weather, a missed step on hard ice, a dropped glove, can trigger a cascade of consequences that no guide or fixed rope can reverse. The price of entry may be lower, but the cost of a single error is the same as on the deadliest mountain, your life. Everest, Lhotse, and Manaslu sit at the heart of the world's deadliest peaks, not because they are the most technical, but because so many attempt them. Everest alone has seen 11,000 summits, yet 344 climbers have died here, more than anywhere else. Crowds now shape the risk. At the South Col and Hillary step lines of climbers wait in the death zone. Oxygen dwindling, frostbite creeping in. In 2023, more than 300 people crowded above 8,000 meters during a single weather window. 8 died, most from exhaustion and exposure while trapped on fixed ropes. Behind each summit bid are Sherpa and Nepali workers, exposed to every hazard. On Everest and Lhotse, they account for over half the fatalities. The 2014 Khumbu icefall collapse killed 16 Sherpas in minutes, a stark reminder of who shoulders the danger. The Lhotse face, a 1,300-meter wall of blue ice, forces Sherpas to fix ropes and haul loads for hours, where a single slip or falling serac can be fatal. Economic need and community ties bring them back season after season. Manaslu, marketed as a safer climb, hides a brutal truth. Its avalanche-prone slopes have claimed 125 lives from just 2,540 summits, a fatality rate near 5%. Heavy snow years erase entire camps in seconds. More than half the dead are Sherpa, or high-altitude porters, lost while securing routes for others. Numbers offer no safety. The more people on these slopes, the smaller the margin for error. Junko Tabe, Everest's first female summiter, wrote that the mountain is not fair or unfair, it is just dangerous. On these crowded giants, danger multiplies with every climber. Makalu, Broad Peak, and Gasherbrum stand as the crucible where pure skill and endurance are tested at the edge of human survival. On Makalu, the challenge begins at the infamous Makalu Corner, an exposed turn above 7,900 meters where the slope steepens past 80 degrees. Every step demands technical precision, and a single misplacement can send a climber sliding into the void. Here, oxygen delivery drops to 1/4 of sea level, and the wind routinely strips away any margin for error. In 2018, a guiding company cut supplemental oxygen rations to save weight, triggering a string of acute pulmonary edema cases. The fallout forced authorities to mandate minimum oxygen allocations for all commercial teams, but the scars remain. Broad Peak has a summit ridge 2 kilometers long that offers no shelter. Climbers already depleted must cross exposed rock and ice with the summit in sight, but exhaustion closing in. In 2021, a French climber fell 30 meters after a static line snapped, the result of a shortcut in the rope system. Such lapses, driven by cost or misplaced confidence, turn technical difficulty into catastrophe. Gasherbrum-G's steep couloirs and remote access amplify the psychological strain. In 2012, an expedition leader made the call to abandon the dual rope safety rule above 7,500 meters, aiming for a faster ascent. When the single rope failed under the weight of a serac fall, 2 climbers were swept down the slope. One survived. One did not. The incident forced a rule change. Dual rope redundancy became mandatory, a stark lesson in the price of ethical shortcuts. On these peaks, the mountain does not forgive misjudgment. Above 8,000 meters, exhaustion is total, every anchor must hold, and every decision is final. The technical destroyers do not kill with crowds or avalanches. They kill with exposure, fatigue, and the consequences of a single, irreversible mistake. Avalanches are the silent arbiters of fate on Dhaulagiri and Shishapangma. On Dhaulagiri, the mountain's steep flanks and shifting snowpacks have claimed 115 lives out of just 2,390 summits, a fatality rate of nearly 5%. The 1995 Serac collapse wiped out 8 climbers during a single descent, and more recent seasons have seen entire high camps buried overnight. No amount of preparation can guarantee safety here. The snowpack can turn lethal without warning, and the line between a safe route and a death trap is invisible until it is too late. Expeditions have turned to technology for help, but even the latest drone surveys offer only partial answers. Teams now use drones to scan the southwest ridge, mapping crevasses and surface cracks, but a real-time avalanche risk map, so common in the Alps, remains out of reach on Dhaulagiri. The mountain's shifting weather and terrain outpace any prediction. Camp placements change year to year, based on the faint hope that this time the snow will hold. Shishapangma, the only 8,000-meter peak located entirely in China, presents a different kind of uncertainty. Foreign expeditions are capped by government permit, and official fatality figures remain opaque. What is known is chilling. In 2015, 5 climbers died when a slab avalanche swept through their high bivouac. Rescue was impossible. The nearest helicopter could not reach the site, and the true toll may never be fully reported. Here, the greatest danger is not technical climbing, but the randomness of snow and the silence of official records. On these avalanche mountains, skill and caution are reduced to a coin flip. When the slope breaks loose, there is no time to run, no margin for rescue, and no certainty that the world will ever know what happened. Kangchenjunga rises through the clouds on the border of Nepal and India, a mountain revered as sacred by the Sikkimese and Lepcha peoples. For generations, climbers have honored a local custom, stopping just short of the true summit, leaving the highest snow untouched out of respect for the gods. The mountain's isolation compounds its danger. Rescue is often impossible, and weather can trap teams for days above 8,000 meters. The fatality rate, 3%, hides the reality that every step is a negotiation with both the mountain and the mind. The psychological burden is immense. Climbers speak of feeling watched, as if trespassing on forbidden ground. Nanga Parbat, known as the Killer Mountain, confronts climbers with the Rupal face, the highest vertical relief on Earth, a wall of ice and rock that rises over 4,600 meters from base to summit. Here, storms arrive without warning, and the weight of past tragedies lingers in every decision. More than half of the 104 recorded deaths are Pakistani porters, lost on exposed ridges where help is days away. The mountain's reputation for unpredictability and its legacy of disaster create a psychological terror as real as any avalanche or fall. On these peaks, reverence and fear shape every choice, and the margin for survival is measured as much by inner resolve as by physical strength. K2 stands as the ultimate test of human precision at altitude. Every step on its upper slopes is a gamble with physics and time. The bottleneck, a narrow, steep couloir beneath a looming sérac, demands exact rope work and flawless timing. In 2008, a single rope failure here triggered a chain reaction. 11 climbers lost their lives, trapped by cut lines and falling ice. Even with the 2024 installation of a real-time drone weather network, the margin for error remains unforgiving. Permit restrictions now limit the number of teams on the bottleneck, but the mountain's fatality rate still hovers above 23%. The technical perfection required on K2 is absolute. One miscalculation and rescue is impossible. But Annapurna outstrips even K2 in raw lethality. With a death-to-summit ratio of 23.5%, it is the only 8,000-meter peak where statistics alone inspire dread. Most deaths come not from technical climbing, but from avalanches that sweep entire teams away without warning. In 2014, an avalanche on the south face erased an entire expedition in seconds. The mountain snowpack can turn deadly overnight, defying prediction and preparation. Despite new risk pricing rules and route innovations, Annapurna's reputation remains unchanged. The deadliest giant, where ambition is often met with silence. Above 8,000 meters, reaching the summit is optional. Coming back down is not. Today, more climbers than ever chase these summits, but the fatality rates, up to 32% on Annapurna, remain unchanged. No technology, money, or fame can guarantee survival in the death zone. Above 8,000 meters, reaching the summit is optional. Coming back down is not.